Photo-negative Mickey. Photo-negative Mickey is the main antagonist in the Five Nights at Treasure Island series. He is based on a creepypasta titled Abandoned by Disney, written by Christopher Howard Wolfe. In the story, a man searches an abandoned Disney attraction called Mowgli's Palace, only to find a photo-negative Mickey costume and a Donald Duck head with a skull in it. When he turns to leave, he turns back around and sees Mickey standing behind him. It asks, "Hey, wanna see my head come off?" The photo-negative Mickey costume then proceeds to pull its head off, causing thick, chunky yellow blood to spray everywhere. The man, however, escapes from the suit and leaves. Appearance. As its name implies, the costume is actually a Mickey Mouse character costume with photo-negative coloring of his normal version from Disney. It is unknown why it was colored as such. It contains all of the classic Mickey Mouse's key features, such as circular big ears, a small pointed tail, a pointed nose, a large grin, buttoned pants, shoes, and gloves. If reversed, it shows Mickey Mouse's original colors, depicted from Disney. It has been shown to leak a thick, chunky, yellow fluid. The face has also been shown to leak this fluid in one of the teasers. In the first trailer, while jump-scaring the viewer, photo-negative Mickey's face changed into a very unnerving look with large, empty eye sockets, much like the faces, and a ghastly wide smile. It was confirmed by the game's creator, Matthew Phoenix Rodriguez, that this was the shade version of photo-negative Mickey. Behavior. Photo-negative Mickey starts at character prep 1 along with disembodied. He is initially seen lying down. However, when he is about to start moving, he will stand up. This can help the player prepare for him. He appears in all cameras excluding 2 cameras, CAM4 and CAM7, when photo-negative Mickey is active. Advice from Greg explains that photo-negative Mickey is blind, but has a heightened sense of hearing. However, Lisa explains that the photo-negative Mickey suit can see, albeit poorly. If photo-negative Mickey appears in the office, the player needs to pull up the monitor and shut down a camera. This creates a loud noise to draw photo-negative Mickey into another location. Delaying or neglecting to do so will cause him to kill the player. The player also has the option to hide under the desk, giving the player a 50/50 chance of surviving. Photo-negative Mickey will always reappear in character prep 1, regardless of which camera is turned off, and will restart the cycle. On the second night, photo-negative Mickey can sometimes reappear already standing, rather than lying down. Photo-negative Mickey can also enter the office from the left and right side of the office once he has entered, which he appears from the left side of the office if he enters from the lounge and appears at the right side of the office if he came from the meat freezer. Locations. Photo-negative Mickey starts lying down in character prep 1. He eventually stands up as he is active, and then wanders to the staff area, the meat freezer, bathroom, the lounge, and photo-negative Mickey will eventually enter the office. Trivia. Photo-negative Mickey is voiced by Matthew Phoenix Rodriguez, the creator of the game. As shown in one of the game's teaser images, photo-negative Mickey originally wore clothing which highly resembled that of the official Walt Disney World mascot costume. This was changed in the final version possibly due to copyright and modeling issues. The only 2 rooms that photo-negative Mickey does not enter are the starting locations for 2 other suits, Oswald and Suicide Mouse, respectively. Photo-negative Mickey was removed from the final version of the game and was replaced by Wooly. If the player stares at the title screen for too long, photo-negative Mickey will stare at the player. After that, human eyes will appear and his eye sockets will expand. He will then fall and jump-scare the player. In Remastered 2.0 and 3.0, photo-negative Mickey will not go in the bathroom. Oswald. Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, or just Oswald for short, is an unfinished suit and is an antagonist in the game Five Nights at Treasure Island. He was Walt Disney's first ever iconic Disney cartoon character but was later replaced by Mickey Mouse. He later made a comeback as a main character in the games Epic Mickey and Epic Mickey 2. Appearance. Oswald closely resembles his original Disney counterpart, except for the fact that he lacks arms. The reason for this, as explained by Lisa on Night 2, is because the suit was left incomplete before the arms could be applied to it. With the exception of a lack of arms, all of his key features are there, such as his long ears, a pair of oval eyes, his rabbit tail, his nose, and his overalls. His overalls, however, seem to look melted almost, and not as they were in the original cartoons. Behavior. Oswald becomes active, starting on night 2. He starts in the storage room, where he can be clearly seen lying on the ground and will stand before he exits the storage room. He can hide from the cameras like photo-negative Mickey. When he appears in the office, he is seen next to the Treasure Island sign. His jump scare is him simply jumping up, screaming loud. Oswald has been known to speak in a very deep voice echoing throughout the island. He seems to move or about to move every time he does this, saying things like, "Bless your soul." "Don't bless this one." "Have mercy on me, please. I only ask for blessing." "God. God. 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 Where are you, God? God. Please listen to me. I know you're here, so please bless me and help me out here. I only ask for this." Locations. Oswald starts in the storage room, before standing up and moving to the staff area, the lounge, the meat freezer, or the office. Trivia. According to Kaya, Oswald and God are connected in some way. Oswald is voiced by the creator of the game, Matthew Phoenix Rodriguez. Prior to version 2 of the remastered version, Oswald was colored dark teal and black. According to Matthew Phoenix Rodriguez, the reason for Oswald's messed up textures in-game for these versions is because of a glitch with a texture placement in his modeling program. On some cameras, he seems to be the same way. In Remastered 3.0, whenever Oswald has entered the office, his textures return to its normal state, but he doesn't whenever in the cameras. Oswald has no arms, because he is an unfinished suit. Oswald Shade was going to be based off of SCP-173, as confirmed in a response Matthew made to a note asking what Oswald Shade would be based on. He rarely moves on night 1. Oswald is one of the characters that have a unique shout. Another suit with the same ability is Photo-Negative Minion God. The face. The face, previously referred to as Distorted Mickey Mouse, is a distorted version of Mickey Mouse and an antagonist in the game Five Nights at Treasure Island. Appearance. The face has the same appearance as the original Mickey Mouse, except his eyes are a pale white color and almost human-like, and his mouth hangs open, with no teeth showing as if it is broken or dislocated. His ears are also more bat-like and pointy, compared to Mickey Mouse's iconic circular ears. His suit also appears to be a slightly darker shade of red than normal, and there are short stumps where his legs should be, as most of his lower torso has been melted, and it is currently unknown why. In one of the promo images, he can be seen with a strange yellow liquid, possibly blood, pouring out of his left eye socket. Behavior. He will first appear in the chimney on the roof and make a banging sound, signaling that he has become active. When he appears in the office, he can be seen climbing on the desk. When he attacks the player, he rises up screaming as he lunges at the player. He will also rarely jump scare the player when they begin in pirate caverns. He becomes active in Night 2 and continues activity through the rest of the game, but can also be active on Night 1, which is a rare occurrence. Locations. The face starts on the roof. He will then enter the office. Bugs. When the face appears in the office, his eyes seem different when compared to the pair of eyes he has when he kills you. When the face jumpscares the player in Pirate Caverns, the image behind him will switch to the office for a split second before going to the game over screen. In the face's old jumpscare, his thumb clips through the upper part of his mouth. His eyes will misplace for a split second in his jumpscare. His eyes will also disappear for a split second in his jumpscare. He seems to be lacking the buttons on his pants during the jumpscare. His right thumb will clip through his upper jaw during his jumpscare. Sometimes, there is a rare graphical glitch where the face briefly pops up for a split second on the roof camera even though he is not there. This can also happen with Suicide Mouse. Trivia. According to Matthew, the face got his name from a modeling error that happened while Matthew was creating him. The face is voiced by the creator of the game, Matthew Phoenix Rodriguez, but he hasn't yet recorded the voice. According to a note replied by Matthew, the face's lines were never recorded, and there were no known references as to what they would have been. Originally, the face's voice would have been voiced by both Matthew and his girlfriend collectively. It is unknown what he means by collectively, although it has been speculated that by collectively, he means that he and his girlfriend would say the same lines at the same time, such as overlapping each other. The face has a faster jump scare in pirate caverns than in regular circumstances. It is unknown whether or not this is a bug. The face's rear image, unlike his appearance in the main game, has no human eyes visible in the eye sockets. In his desk jump scare, his face seems to constrict. When the face is in the office, the buttons on its belly are white, and when the screamer is used, they are black. Suicide Mouse. Suicide Mouse is one of the suits that starts to come active on Night 1 and is an antagonist in Five Nights at Treasure Island. He, as well as for Wooly, is Mickey Mouse from the 1930s. Appearance. Suicide Mouse bears a strong resemblance to the Mickey Mouse at first depicted in his early cartoons, as all of his colors are in grayscale, mostly black and white, and his features match the original cartoon character, Mickey Mouse, especially when compared to photo-negative Mickey and linked similar to Wooly. He walks around with his hands tucked behind his back, except for when he is in the meat freezer, in which he walks with his arms outstretched. Behavior. Suicide Mouse activates on Night 3 normally. When Suicide Mouse starts, the TV in the broadcasting room will turn on and Suicide Mazavi will play. For now, a death animation does not currently exist for Suicide Mouse, but he can crash the player's game and will scream multiple times if he catches the player hiding under the desk. When Suicide Mouse enters Character Prep 1, the posters on the wall change to an image of his face, similar to the original Mickey Mouse cartoon intro and outro. Suicide Mouse starts in the broadcasting room, then heads directly to the office, rather than walking around the building at random or going back and forth through cameras. When he enters the office, the player can usually just turn off the camera to lure him out, though they only have a 50/50 chance of getting him to leave. If the player does not do this, then Suicide Mouse will create a crash from the game. Locations. Suicide Mouse starts in the broadcasting room. He will wander through a direct path and will eventually enter Character Prep 1, the staff area, the meat freezer. Suicide Mouse will then enter your office. Bugs. Suicide Mouse's music will stop the phone call from Greg. When he enters the office, the only way to get rid of him is to hide under the desk. If the player manages to succeed, Suicide Mouse will scream at the player and then leave. However, he will not appear again for the rest of the night. His song will also not play for the rest of the night. Trivia. The pose Suicide Mouse uses when he enters the meat freezer is a reference to the Suicide Mazavi mock-up video where Suicide Mouse walks with his hands outstretched. Suicide Mouse was renamed Mortimer in Remastered 3.0. If the player manages to survive in-game for a long amount of time, Suicide Mouse's full song will play, revealing that it will play the same moaning and screaming from the Suicide Mazavi video in-game. This can be seen in this video. The promo for Suicide Mouse isn't made for the moment. Suicide Mouse cannot kill the player in the remastered demo. Although Suicide Mouse is grayscale in-game, when his teaser is brightened he is revealed to have red shorts and yellow shoes. However, if the blend file for his teaser is viewed, it reveals that he is actually grayscale and that it is just the lighting. Suicide Mouse is the only character in the game who can significantly change objects to the image of his face in the radius of himself. Daisy Duck. Daisy Duck is a recognizable Disney character and is an antagonist in Five Nights at Treasure Island. Appearance. Daisy Duck is like Donald, a disembodied head. She has white feather-like eyelashes and no purple bow, which her Disney counterpart usually wears. Behavior. Daisy Duck starts in Character Prep 2 before randomly teleporting into the office. While in the office you will prevent the player from shutting off the power. The only way to get rid of her is by shutting off a camera or turning off the power. She can also be summoned by God into the office along with Acephalus's head. Locations. Daisy Duck starts in Character Prep 2 and will make its way to the office. Trivia. Daisy Duck is one of 3 female enemies in the game, the other 2 being photo-negative Minnie and God. Daisy Duck is one of the characters that does not attack the player. The rest are considered Pluto, disembodied, and Goofy's head. Daisy is one of the disembodied heads in the game. The other 2, disembodied and Goofy's head. Model Daisy appears as Princess Daisy from the game Kingdom Hearts. Disembodied. Disembodied, also known as Donald Duck by the fans, is an iconic Disney character and a minor antagonist in the game Five Nights at Treasure Island. Appearance. Disembodied is portrayed as a disembodied Donald Duck costume head. Unlike Goofy, Disembodied doesn't seem to have any body so far, most likely due to the story this game is based on. His head depicts eyes, but they are black and shiny. Unlike the original Disembodied and the disembodied head featured in the original teaser image, he is missing his blue sailor hat. Behavior. Disembodied starts in character prep 1 with photo-negative Mickey. He doesn't appear in any cameras and stays in the one spot until he stares at the camera, signaling that he will show up at the office. He will randomly teleport into the office, making screaming, duck-like sounds. He is non-hostile, similar to Balloon Boy in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. It has been proven that he will leave after several seconds. Another method to get rid of him is to disable CAM2 or the meat freezer, but this is the only camera which will make him leave, as other cameras won't fend him off. Since the other suits are attracted by noise, Disembodied will attract them with his loud quacking. The suits will start moving more spasmodically once Disembodied leaves the office desk. Locations. Disembodied is shown beside photo-negative Mickey in character prep 1, before turning to face the camera, then suddenly teleporting in the office randomly. Trivia. Disembodied is one of the characters that does not attack the player. The rest are considered Pluto, Daisy Duck, and Goofy's head. Disembodied is one of the incorporeal heads in the game. The other 2 are Daisy Duck and Goofy's head. According to the creepypasta that the game is based on, Disembodied has a human skull inside his suit's head. In the first promotional artwork image, Disembodied is shown to wear a blue sailor hat like his original counterpart, but the hat is absent in the final game's release, most likely to avoid copyright issues. Disembodied's quack sound is just one sound, repeated with many edits of the pitch and frequency. The word disembodied means to be separated from or existing without a body. Disembodied's body was planned to be in the full game, but it was scrapped. Unlike the other suits, Disembodied doesn't talk when he is active. Acephalus. Acephalus is a 2-part antagonist in Five Nights at Treasure Island. He is a suit of the iconic Disney character Goofy, with his head separate from his body. Appearance. He appears to be a normal-looking Goofy costume without his head and some discoloration around the body. His head is the same as his Disney counterpart as well, with the exception being that it has no long, droopy ears. Acephalus also wears a yellow jacket, unlike Goofy's original black one. Behavior. Acephalus's body becomes active starting on night 3. His body behaves like the other suits, for the most part, roaming between the rooms on his path. The only difference is that shutting off a camera does not work on him, so the player must instead hide whenever he enters the office. His head won't enter the office and will remain in the meat freezer unless God summons it to the office. When Acephalus's head is in the office, the player will be unable to hide under the desk. The player can't get rid of the head once it is in the office, as God prevents the player from shutting off the camera, and Daisy Duck prevents the player from shutting off the power, making the player completely defenseless from the other suits. When moving around Treasure Island, Acephalus's body will say, "Hear me. Have a heart, please. I thought you loved me. Do you think leaving me here would prove anything? I called for help, but you didn't listen. I'm still here." Locations. Acephalus's starting location is in the janitor's closet. He will then move to the bathroom, then the meat freezer, and finally the office. Acephalus's head will remain in the meat freezer and will appear in the office if God summons it. Trivia. Acephalus hails from the 1.0 era of the original Five Nights at Treasure Island's development cycle, where he was fended off in the same manner as the other suits and had a hiding jumpscare. Goofy traditionally has a black jacket when he is featured in most Disney cartoons, as opposed to the yellow one Acephalus is seen wearing in Five Nights at Treasure Island. However, in some Disney incarnations, Goofy wears a yellow jacket. Acephalus' name originated from the Greek word akephalos, literally meaning headless or without a head. An unused file in Remastered 2.0 shows Acephalus standing in Character Prep 1, holding Disembodied. In the file release by Matthew Phoenix Rodriguez, there is an animation of Acephalus running out of Character Prep 1 while wearing Disembodied. Acephalus' voice actor in Remastered is the same voice actor for Greg in the original 1.0 demos. Acephalus' screech was made by Smashed Tomatoes and edited by George W. Cush. When Acephalus' body is in the meat freezer, his head appears to be larger than his body. Acephalus' head can be summoned only by Purity in the office. If the player befriends Acephalus, then he can be seen in the janitor's closet with his head on. It is unknown if any of the suits ever notice Acephalus' head in the meat freezer when they enter there. Photo Negative Mini. Photo Negative Mini is an Easter egg and an antagonist in the game Five Nights at Treasure Island. Appearance. As the name suggests, Photo Negative Mini is a carbon copy of Minnie Mouse, with negative coloration, like Photo Negative Mickey and True Mickey, but she has soulless black button-like eyes, and a huge pair of human-like teeth. She contains the rest of Minnie Mouse's key traits, such as circular ears, a polka dot bow tie, and dress, a pointy nose, shoes, and gloves. She also has a small pointy tail, though it usually remains absent from her design, like Photo Negative Mickey and True Mickey. Her shade version is based on Jeff the Killer. Behavior. Photo Negative Mini becomes active starting on night 4. She will begin in Character Prep 1 off-screen. Then, she will appear in the room, floating. This can help the player prepare for her to move. Photo Negative Mini moves directly to the office and moves very quickly, evidently the same speed as Photo Negative Mickey. If Photo Negative Mini appears in the office, the player needs to raise the monitor and shut down a camera, the loud noise luring PN Mini into another room. The player also has the option to switch off the power or hide under the desk, giving the player a 50/50 chance of surviving. Delaying or neglecting to do these things will cause her to kill the player. Photo Negative Mini will always disappear, reappearing in Character Prep 1 later if the player shuts off a camera or the power. Locations. Photo Negative Mini will start off camera, then she will start hanging in Character Prep 1, move to the staff area, then move to the meat freezer, move to the lounge, and will eventually enter the office. Bugs. During her jump scare, Photo Negative Mini's teeth are clipping through her. When Photo Negative Mini appears in the office, it looks like she has human-like eyes inside her headpiece. However, this is simply due to the lighting. Trivia. Photo Negative Mini was originally planned as an Easter egg by Ennard 1996 during Five Nights at Treasure Island's 1.0 phase and was the result of a request from a user on the original Wiki. The user suggested this character by submitting fan art that can be found here. In Abandoned Discovery Island, she became an active antagonist. Photo Negative Mini is one of 3 female enemies in the game, the other 2 being Daisy Duck and God. She is also the second female character to be added to Five Nights at Treasure Island, found. Photo Negative Mini was originally known as Photo Negative Mini in the original version until she was then changed to Impure Mouse and her colors were reverted, although she kept the eyes and human-like teeth, and Photo Negative Mickey was replaced by Wooly, and Dark Oswald changed himself into Classic Oswald when prisoners took over the game. When Photo Negative Mini laughs, she sounds like she's crying. The Corruptless incident explains why she has no eyes in the ADI continuity. When Photo Negative Mini appears in the office, it looks like she has eyes inside her mask, however it could most likely be lighting or modeling error. Photo Negative Mini shade looks similar to Ink Block Mini from Subwoofer 3's Nightmare Before Disney. When Photo Negative Mini appears in the office without power, Photo Negative Mini's eyes in her shade form will go red. Whether any shade suits that can't do this is unknown. Her kill screen is inspired by Nightmares, Golden Freddy's, and Nightmarians from the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. Her changed name in Abandoned Discovery Island was a nod to her original 3.0 counterpart in Pure Mouse, where her coloring was reverted. Photo Negative Mickey's dialogue implies that Photo Negative Minnie was killed during the Corruptless incident, which contradicts her appearance in gameplay. It is implied that the Photo Negative Minnie that Jake Smith is seeing is a hallucination, or possibly a ghost. Pluto. Pluto is an antagonist in the game Abandoned Discovery Island and Five Nights at Treasure Island, found Revision 1. Appearance. Pluto's appearance is not too different from his appearance from the Disney universe, with a few distinct differences. His body also seems to be slightly thinner, and his green collar and right hind leg are missing. His face is rather wrinkly, with empty eyes, no teeth and a gloomy expression. Parts of his body seem to sag. Behavior. Pluto will occasionally teleport into the office and start barking very loudly. While he is in the room, any suits on the left side of the room will be blocked from the player's view, such as Oswald or Wooly, and all suits will start moving at a faster pace, so it is important to get him out of the office as soon as possible. To do this, the player must quickly shut off a camera or the power. Hiding will not make Pluto leave. Locations. Pluto can only appear at the left side of the office. Bugs. One of the office's wires clips through his left leg when he appears in the office. Trivia. Pluto is one of 4 suits that won't attack the player, the others being Disembodied, Daisy Duck and Acephalus's head. Pluto was an Easter egg in the original game but is a standard enemy in Abandoned Discovery Island and Revision 1. According to the original FNATI''S, creator entered 1996, Pluto was said to be linked to Undying. This is referenced in ATI when Undying says, "Stop barking! You are making too much noise." When both Pluto and Undying appear in the office at the same time. Pluto, Lester, and Tomato are the only characters so far to only appear in the office and not on the cameras. Pete. Pete is one of the unused antagonists in Abandoned Discovery Island. Appearance. Pete is a black and white cat with curvaceous curves, a tall body, a jumpsuit wrapped around his waist, boots, small black eyes, and a mustache. Despite the fact that his Disney counterpart Peg-Leg Pete wore a long black and white hat, he does not have it in this version of the game. Behavior and location unknown. Its appearance was copied from Peg-Leg Pete from Steamboat Willie in 1928. Pete was added to the extras menu, but he never appeared in the gameplay with the other antagonists. Pete was the last thing entered 1996, added to the game before leaving. But it was still added in version 6.0. Wooly. Wooly is the main antagonist of Five Nights at Treasure Island, and is once again the main antagonist in Purity's remastered 3.0 version of Five Nights at Treasure Island only, replacing Photo Negative Mickey. Appearance. Wooly is the black and white incarnation of Mickey Mouse, such as Wooly is a strong resemblance to the Mickey at first, depicted in the early Mickey cartoons, and looks similar to the Mickey Mouse in the cartoon film, Steamboat Willie. He also appears similar to Suicide Mouse, however, his pants are different, in a bigger frame, and his belly appears to be larger. As he looks, he appears to be a lot less shiny, and his eyes are depicted black. Unlike most of the suits, he has a mostly circle-shaped head, as well as his ears. Behavior. Wooly starts in Character Prep 1, along with Photo Negative Mickey and Disembodied. He is initially seen standing in front of the right wall, facing it. However, if Wooly was about to leave Character Prep 1, he is now seen at the left of the camera, staring at it. Wooly, like Photo Negative Mickey, will appear in all, excluding 3 cameras, CAM5, CAM4, and CAM7, going towards the player's office directly on his path. Wooly moves directly toward the office, and moves very quickly than most of the suits. Wooly is hostile. He can move throughout most of the locations. If he is found in the office, the player must shut down a camera. This creates a loud noise to lure Wooly to another room. Failure to do so in time causes Wooly to kill the player. Despite being already active, Wooly only leaves Character Prep 1 if Photo Negative Mickey has left the room. If Photo Negative Mickey is still in the room, Wooly will still remain in his starting position. However, on night 2, if the player turns off a camera, he will be reappearing back to Character Prep 1, already about to leave Character Prep 1, but this only happens on night 2, rarely on night 1, which is an advantage to the player. When Wooly is moving, he will occasionally talk, saying phrases including, "Hey," in a deep voice only heard on the title screen, "Hey," in more of a Mickey-like voice, "Hey there. Where's my hat? He isn't nice. My vote. You took it." Unlike Oswald, Wooly does not normally have an echo when talking, with the exception of when he says, "Hey," and when he talks about his vote being taken. Locations. Wooly starts in Character Prep 1 before you look at the camera, along with Photo Negative Mickey and Disembodied. Once he has left Character Prep 1, Wooly then can move to the staff area, the meat freezer, the lounge, and the office. Trivia. Initially, the main antagonist of the remastered 3.0 was supposed to be Mick, but soon he was replaced by Wooly. Wooly originates from Mickey Mouse's first ever successful cartoon dubbed Steamboat Willie. Wooly is the only suit that will not have an echo when he speaks. Unlike in the cartoon Steamboat Willie, Willie's model does not have a hat on his head, which explains why he says, "Where's my hat?" Despite being one of the easiest suits to defend in Five Nights at Treasure Island, Wooly is the most active suit. Mick. Mick is a major antagonist in the game Abandoned, Discovery Island 1.1 and Five Nights at Treasure Island, found Revision 1. Mick was added to Five Nights at Treasure Island, found Revision 1 with Hourglass. He was going to be present in Abandoned, Discovery Island, but he was scrapped due to memory limitations. However, Mick was also added in ADI 1.1. Appearance. Mick appears identically as a carbon copy of the iconic Mickey Mouse. Unlike Photo Negative Mickey, his colors match the original colors of Mickey Mouse, however they are slightly discolored. Mick also has two expanding eye sockets, with a pair of human-like eyes, similar to those of true Mickey in the face. Behavior. Mick becomes active, starting on night 1, alongside Photo Negative Mickey, who is also the first character to become active on that night. He significantly becomes more active on night 5, along with Photo Negative Mickey. He will start on the roof before heading to the Pirate Cavern's entrance and will enter the office. When he is in the office, the player must shine the flashlight on his face to scare him away. Delaying or neglecting to do so will cause Mick to attack the player. Additionally, shutting off a camera will cause Mick to instantly kill the player. If the player hides under the desk while he is in the office, he will also attack the player. Locations. Mick starts his journey outside the building before entering the Pirate Cavern's entrance or the roof, and will then move to the office. Jumpscares. In his first jumpscare, Mick jumps from the bottom of the screen with his hands up, and then Miles K grabs the player by the paws. All this is accompanied by a devilish, badly distorted version of Photo Negative Mickey's screech. There is also a variant of the jumpscare from Revision 1, in which Mick comes out of the right side of the screen, looks at the player for half a second and punches him in the face with his paw. All this is not accompanied by animation, but only the movement of Mick's model. Bugs. If the player hides under the desk while Mick is in the office from Revision 1, he will automatically force the player up from the desk and then kill the player. When attacking the player from Phase 1.0 of the official game, he uses the same screech as Photo Negative Mickey. In Phase 2.0, he uses the same screech as the face. Trivia. On night 5, from Revision 1, Mick's position in the office slightly changes a bit. Mick only appears in the extra section in ADI and New Super Abandoned, Discovery Island, alongside Hourglass, Happy Mouse, Cartoon Nightmare, Pete, and Oh Dear God. Despite being initially scrapped from ADI along with Hourglass, his jumpscare is already finished in ADI 1.1. Mick hails from Phase 3.0 of the official game Five Nights at Treasure Island, where he served as a placeholder for Wooly. He is based on the title screen model for Photo Negative Mickey in the remastered versions of 1.0 as well as 2.0. In said versions of the game, Mick starts in the storage room before moving to the staff area, the meat freezer, the bathroom, the lounge, and will enter the office. This is the same pattern as Photo Negative Mickey. Shutting off a camera or the power makes him go away. Hiding under the desk only has a 50/50 chance of survival. Mick in Revision 1 was not finished prior to the game's cancellation. He was originally going to be able to enter the building and would be able to roam through all 11 cameras. Mick has the original colors of Mickey Mouse, however they show slight discoloration. He shares this similar distinction with the Cephalus. It was confirmed by Disco that Mick and the Face were two different suits in Revision 1. In version 1.1 of Abandoned Discovery Island, Mick and the Face were the same characters. In A.D.I., True Mickey appears identical to Mick, but with inverted, darker colors. This is still true for the former's placeholder camera frames, but he received more noticeable changes to distinguish himself from the former with his final design. According to Disco, Mick was to be present in Abandoned Discovery Island 1.1, but was scrapped due to memory limitations. He would have behaved identically to his incarnation from Revision 1, but would be stopped through conventional means instead. Corruptless. Corruptless is the final boss of the good ending route in Abandoned Discovery Island. Appearance. Corruptless is a combination of photo-negative Mickey, the Face, and Suicide Mouse, with holes where his ears and nose should be and blank, empty eyes. He has no legs and always hovers above the ground. In the broadcasting room, another form of Corruptless is seen where he retains a more complete Mickey Mouse-esque appearance, albeit still missing legs. This form is shown to be able to take off his head easily, just like photo-negative Mickey, though no yellow blood will leak out from his neck. Behavior. Corruptless only appears on Night 6 if the player received the good ending where they get the key from the pirate caverns and escape photo-negative Mickey. Corruptless glitches every room he enters, even the office, but with that being said, it's easier to detect if he is in your office or not. If he speaks in a garbled voice and is standing next to the sign or in the left doorway, you need to shut off a camera or turn off the power. If you hear his voice more clearly and he's right in front of you, you need to hide under the desk, but not for too long or you will be attacked by Slester. If you shut off the power, you need to listen to Corruptless's voice. If he's in the office and his voice sounds more garbled, you must stand still. If you can hear his voice sound more clearly, you need to hide under the desk. If the player doesn't use the appropriate mechanic to defend from Corruptless or does nothing while he is in the office, Corruptless will attack the player. When Corruptless does attack the player, photo-negative Mickey, the Face and Suicide Mouse will simultaneously appear in the office for a split second. The following audios will make a better understanding of where Corruptless appears in the office. When Corruptless is at the left side of the office, he says, "Let's have some fun." When Corruptless is at the middle of the office, he says, "I know you're in there." When Corruptless is on the desk, he says, "You can't run away from me." Trivia. The first teaser featuring Corruptless was heavily edited to obscure Corruptless's appearance. When Corruptless is in the broadcasting room, the teaser image appears on the TV screens. When Corruptless is in Character Prep 1, the textures on him and in the entire room appear to be likely unfinished and blank white. The parts of Corruptless that look like Suicide Mouse actually appear to use his shades texture, as there are small amounts of blood on them. Corruptless is named after the creepypasta Corruptless, written by Chris Howard Wolf and a part of the Abandoned by Disney series, though he shares no direct connection to the story. Corruptless is voiced by Toon Sturgums, one of the game's programmers. Corruptless differs from True Mickey, as the latter is a demon. Corruptless is a normal, but heavily corrupted and merged suit. In earlier versions of the game, Corruptless could appear on earlier nights in the lounge. This was later confirmed to be a bug and has been fixed and replaced with a proper suit head Easter egg. Corruptless can appear on all the cameras, excluding the Pirate Cavern's entrance. That being said, Corruptless is the only character to appear on nearly all of the cameras in the game. Corruptless seems to slightly change appearance in different rooms. Corruptless seems to have at least higher strength than the others, as it effortlessly tosses the desk aside in its hiding jumpscare. Corruptless is occasionally accompanied by floating, single-textured, and further distorted versions of himself. Disco refers to them as corrupted bodies. That's the end of Part 1.